Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says that housing in Canada should retain its value. Do you agree with this? Because I say absolutely not. I'm going to reply to a video here, or react to a video by a channel called Simple Investor on YouTube, and he's going to go through it. He actually agrees with Justin Trudeau's statement, and I'm going to react throughout and explain at least my point of view, maybe the point of view from a millennial or someone in Gen Z.
Craziest statements came out from the Prime Minister of Canada. And he was talking about the fact that housing needs to retain its value.
So as a millennial, I legitimately find this personally offensive. He's been talking about, and the government's been talking about, Justin Trudeau and his government, fix the housing crisis, the housing crisis. Pierre Poilievre has been really going after Justin Trudeau and his government about the housing crisis. And then everyone in Canada really says the right things for the most part in front of the camera. Housing is too expensive. It's too unaffordable. We have to make housing affordable. You can't make housing affordable and have housing retain its value at the same time. This is so ridiculous. This is such a capitulation of throwing your hands up and being like, well, I don't know if there's really anything we can do to fix this. Maybe just a calculation. This is like the ultimate spin job. Is he going to try to convince, and the Liberal government try to convince Canadians now that it's actually good? No, it's good, millennials and Gen Z, you can't afford a home, because the older generation, their homes need to retain their value from the skyrocketing prices that these homes have been on for the last 30 years or so. The generation above you just needs to retain the value on those. Don't worry that it went up 500, 600% in lots of areas of the country. They need to retain its value. Again, you can't have homes retaining their value and fix the housing crisis. This basically statement is saying, we have a housing crisis and it is what it is. And if you're younger, if you're under the age of 40, especially if you live in, say, Southern Ontario or British Columbia, which that's half the country, you're screwed. Unless you're someone that was able to earn a very high amount of money at a very early age, or you have very rich parents who's going to be like, here's a home, here's $1 million home. I don't know if I'd say that the country is destroyed or anything, because this has been happening. You have to move to the prairies or to Edmonton, or like Edmonton's the prairies, but you have to move, maybe Atlantic Canada. You got to figure out, okay, where can I work and where can I actually afford a home? Because if you're going to live now in Ontario or British Columbia and not, again, be some extraordinary earner, you're screwed. And the government to just say, no, these homes need to retain their value is ridiculous.
Now, hang on. This is the same guy that turned around and had the conversations with people saying that you shouldn't invest in it, you can't have extra properties. Oh, and by the way, I want to increase capital gains tax on anybody that has any extra properties. But in the meantime, he's now telling us that housing needs to retain its value. It's a huge part of people's potential for retirement and future nest egg. Holy shit, hallelujah. Did he just go to the fountain of knowledge and actually drink something finally?
So that statement, housing needs to retain its value. It is a huge part of people's potential for retirement and future nest egg. Your primary home is not an investment. This is completely ridiculous. When you buy a home, you're buying it to live in. You're not buying it for the chance that it skyrockets up 500, 600%, like if you lived in Southern Ontario or British Columbia throughout your lifetime, and then you're just going to live on that. That's not what a home is for. That's not what an investment is. An investment is, I'm deferring some of the money that I could spend now, and I'm going to put it into a productive asset like a business and then earn dividends. And at least that is providing value for the economy. Like it's running, say, a business like Costco. You just owning this home and seeing it go up in value from $200,000 to over $1 million in 30 years, which that's a pretty common story for the homes like in the Greater Toronto area. That's not an investment. That didn't help anybody. You just got so lucky that Canada's housing market went out of control. And now Trudeau and this guy in the video, that's not a retirement or a nest egg. That's garbage. That's like you just won the lottery. You got so lucky. No one in society had their lives enriched by your property skyrocketing in value. The other thing you could do, again, you defer some of the money. Maybe you take some of that money and you buy debt. So you're at least lending money to somebody else who's then going to pay you interest. That's a real investment. Then people with whatever your amount of money you gave them, your principal, go out and live their life, or they try to make a business, or they try to figure out a way to pay you back. That's productive for the society. This is not. This is not an investment. This is such a ridiculous way to justify it that, oh, it's for your retirement or your nest egg. You just got so lucky. Something has to be done about this. Canada should be building homes all over the place. NIMBY should go out the window. Young people are so screwed. This attitude is, selfish. This is, like, I don't even know if that's harsh enough of a word. This is garbage. This is not right. The country, make as much money as you want, fine. Like, start a bunch of businesses that you're going to sell real things to real people. That's great. Just having your house go up in value, you just got lucky. That shouldn't be considered like, oh, this is my retirement account now. And it goes on into, like, this is all people have now. But anyway, I'll show that in the video here moving forward.
Like, seriously, I am absolutely shocked that it took this guy this long to actually figure out why Canadians have housing in their portfolio or personal ownership, or for that matter, extra housing, okay?
That is not why Canadians, the primary reason. That should not be the reason Canadians have houses. You have a house to live in. This attitude is ridiculous. Make all the money that you want by investing in the stock market or starting a company or like lending people money, that whatever. Make your money that way. Hoarding homes is terrible for the country. Just to say, oh, I have this podcast and I'm going to give advice on how to do this in Canada. If you have alternate homes and then you rent them out to people that want to rent, you collect the rents from them, that's great. That's fine. That's a transaction that you're both agreeing to, that the person lives in your home, you own the home, so you put up the capital, you both benefit. The person earns rents and the other person pays money to live there and gets to live there like they need to live, right? So there's mutual value there. Just having a house and seeing it go up in value has totally screwed over young people in Canada. It's so stupid that in Canada right now, so many young people, you have to move. If you're not rich, you have to move to the United States, which lots of people are doing, which, by the way, terrible for like the morale of the country, just terrible to have smart people move to the United States to work there. Or you got to move to a city like in the prairies or maybe Atlantic Canada or whatever, but very far away from where you grew up and your friends and family. And this attitude that, oh, your home should be an investment property and we need to retain the value, it's a crap mentality. It's a terrible mindset and a terrible way to have your country. You shouldn't just have this class of people that owns all the homes or owns some homes, and then this huge underclass of people that can't own anything. That's bad for the country. You don't want to have the country with, again, like just two distinct classes of people. These people own everything. These people are lifelong renters. That's terrible for the morale and the social cohesion of a country.
So what do we do with this? Do we elect him? No, definitely not. Okay, that's a no-go. So what is he trying to do? He's trying to pander to people that he's pissed off. Oh, don't forget, he's the same guy that's trying to shove down capital gains down our throats and saying the rich need to pay just a little bit more.
Look, I don't really have a strong opinion on if you should, with capital gains, like if capital gains should be increased on, say, a second or third home in Canada or whatever. I don't know. I think probably should have the freedom to do that. But what I do have are like the freedom to not pay just all this extra tax. What I do think should happen, though, and I know this is easier said than done, this is probably maybe why Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are being like, we just need to like kind of spin this, like, oh, retaining value, the home prices that are high are actually good somehow, is Canada just needs to build way more homes and in building all that new supply, and again, I know that's way easier said than done, that should drive down the prices of a bunch of these guys' homes, whether it's your primary home or your like investment home. These homes, by all this new supply flooding the market, yes, your home should go back down in price by a lot too. That is fine. So I'm sure this guy probably disagrees with that, but we need way more supply. We need way less NIMBYism. We need, again, way more home. Canada's a massive country. The fact that we have this housing crisis is completely, someone is dropping the ball in a big way. And these homes that are over $1 million, that are just average homes in Greater Toronto area and Vancouver, where people again work, there needs to be way more homes built, and they need to come way down so people can actually afford them. Again, homes, the primary use of a home, like by far, is for you to live in it and for you to raise a family. Canada has terrible fertility rates, terrible birth rates rather, and this attitude of just homes or investment properties in the country is ridiculous. Make as much money as you want in other avenues. Don't just hoard homes.
Well, thanks for the bedtime story there, Snoopy. But in the end, one of the things that we need to focus on is not getting caught up with all the rhetoric, all the crap that's being pushed at us. We know as Canadians that one of the greatest things we can own is our own homes and investment properties, okay? Why? Well, yeah, the one statement he made, which is true, is it's going to be a nest egg. So many Canadians do not have a retirement fund.
So whose fault is that? This is ridiculous. Young Canadians aren't even getting a shot at like the Canadian dream. Own a home, raise a family, and actually own your home. People are scrambling like crazy, moving like thousands of kilometers away from where they born, where their friends and family are, just to try to like scramble. How the heck am I going to have this life that I want in a home and at least buy the home like before I'm 50, 60 years old? And if you didn't have an investment fund, it shouldn't just be financed by the fact that your home skyrocketed in value 500%. That is ridiculous. That's just poor planning. You don't have an investment fund, then you don't have one. But don't, which is what is happening. It's not the fault of the young people. Young people need to have a home that they can afford, at least in their own lifetime.
So in the end, as I wrap this whole thing up, I'm going to make it really simple. As a Canadian, I think everybody should have home ownership.
We can't, though, the Simple Podcast guy. That's the point. Young people can't. If you live in Greater Toronto area, it takes over 20 years to save up for the down payment on a home if you earn an average salary. If you live in British Columbia, it's even worse. People are flooding Calgary. It's getting even worse there. Atlantic Canada is getting too expensive for people. People can't own homes, and you can't say to the country, okay, everyone in the country just earn an above average salary then. By definition, people earning like a median salary need to have a chance to own a home. Or you're just telling somebody, work your entire life, rent your entire life. You'll probably have to work into your 70s and your 75, 80, and just live like with roommates your entire life. That's the deal for lots of young Canadians. It's ridiculous. It's why so many people are scrambling, moving to Mexico, moving to like smaller cities and smaller towns in smaller, like less populated areas in Canada, moving to other countries where they can finally, hopefully have a house one day. Canada can't just be this country for just the privileged or rich people or the people fortunate enough to have bought a home in 1990.
I also think that you should invest in it. Why? It's good for your security, but it's also for the next gen. That's one of the most important things.
For the next gen. So that's the deal for if you live in Canada and right now you're Gen Z or millennial. Hopefully my parents are rich enough to have a home, and hopefully I only have I'm an only child, so I'm the person that gets the home, and then I can cross my fingers, I get to be a homeowner when I'm like in my 60s, when they pass away. Hopefully they have a long life. That's the deal. It's good for the next gen. I get a home when I'm 60 years old. You're 60 years old and freaking barely can walk. Hopefully you're still healthy, but whatever. Hey, now I can go try to start a family in my own home at 60 years old. Is that how it's good for the next gen? How is it good for the next gen, the Simple Podcast guy, for home prices, people to retain the value in their homes? How is it good for the next gen?
Hey, look, I'd love to hear your comments on this one, because I don't know what he's trying to do. Again, I think it's just buying votes, because he realizes that he's not going to get the youth to hop on. So he's going to go after the other gen, probably the boomers and people like that.
That's the last clip there. Last time I'll interject. This is probably the first time I agree with this guy of the motivation for Trudeau to make these comments, which I think he's right. The Simple Podcast guy is that he probably is just, Trudeau and the Liberal government is probably looking at this being like, this problem is so huge, so crazy. The odds of this being fixed before the next election are probably they're very low, unless there's just some black swan event where that causes the Canadian homes to really drop down. Which, by the way, I think that would actually be good, as long as the black swan event isn't like something tragic. We need something like that to happen. We need like the 2008 housing crisis in the United States here, just to pop the bubble, everything crashes and down. I know the people that invest in second, third homes, they'd be upset, but at least Gen Z millennial people would have a chance. Come on. But I do agree with him that probably Justin Trudeau is doing this because he sees it as a way to try to spin it into a good thing that, oh, look at the baby boomers, look at all the value you have in your primary home. Look, isn't that great that I'm helping you retain the value in your home? And I can't even say it with a straight face. It's not good for the country, but I guess it's good for the people that own homes. So I guess that's a spin job. That's definitely easier than fixing the problem, fixing the housing crisis for millions of Canadians. So with that said, thank you for listening to this video or watching this video. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with me? Maybe you just disagree with everything I said. I'd like to hear from you either way. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.